Baby, you don't know what you do to me.
The Mary Mac Show.
Look into my eyes and show me your adventures.
Hey, what's up, you guys? It's the Mary Mac Show. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel on Mary Mac Show. It is spelled M-A-C, like Master the Art of Communication. Today, I got Rachelle West here with me, the author of Patrick Perseveres, and just want to say hello there.
Hello.
You can follow her on Instagram at yourgirl_Ray. It's R-A-E. And, just want to talk about your new book, Patrick Perseveres, which can be found on Amazon and Kindle. You can find that link on her Instagram page. Just go to at yourgirl_Ray, click on that link, download the book, Kindle. I got both of them. So just wanted to ask you to tell us about yourself, just briefly, what inspires you and keeps you motivated, stuff like that.
Awesome. Sounds great. So, I'm a Colorado native. Grew up in Montbello. Went to Oakland Elementary with you.
Uh-huh.
Man, those were the days. But I've always been really artistic, and I love to draw, and that was just always my niche. That was my scapegoat. That's how I kind of, how can I say it, relieved a lot of my stress growing up as a kid. Bouncing around from home to home, and just going through a lot in life. I learned how to tap into that, and I just wanted to utilize and kind of marry my way of storytelling as well as my artistic capabilities.
Absolutely.
So that's what I did with my first book. I literally, I just came up with the idea one day at the counter in my home. I'm just like, I'm crazy because I talk to myself often. I'm crazy as hell, y'all. So I was conversing, having a full-fledged conversation with myself about, being the best versions of myself. And I was like, you know what? Patrick Perseveres. And I thought about it, and I kind of freestyled the whole story.
Mm-hmm.
I just married both of my talents, just my creativities. And I self-published. I did my research and figured out how that actually works. And I went through like a multitude of like different self-publishing companies or companies that help you do that.
Yeah.
And I invested in myself first and foremost.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That takes a lot. That's very inspiring.
Yeah, absolutely.
How long did it take you to just write it, like put it all together? Because I remember watching you draw in high school, and it was just so amazing because it would be like, this girl's got talent, man. Like, she's going to be on Cartoon Network, something for sure. So that was like something always to like be really, really super interested in watching you like create. Like your creativity is so awesome. And did it take you like a long time? Like, was it like a month, a year?
Man. Okay, so the story part it never takes me long.
Okay.
I can literally sit there and think, and thank you for the compliment, by the way. Thank you. I appreciate the compliments. That's dope.
Of course.
So I can literally sit there in like 10 minutes, come up with a subject matter and just kind of freestyle it, because I used to rap back in the day too. So
that's awesome.
It comes natural to me.
That's awesome.
And I kind of wanted it to flow like a Dr. Seuss type of style, where it's catchy. So for me, I can just literally sit there and think in like maybe an hour of the story title, and just the plot and how it and I see it in my head visually.
Yes.
I can just I'm like, oh, this is going to be dope. I know how I want it to look. I know where I'm going with it. You know what I mean? So the story part doesn't take long. It's the illustrations.
Okay.
So the illustrations, it took me 2 years to finish those, because
that's
life
incredible.
happens.
Absolutely.
It's like, damn, I'm a single mother.
Mm-hmm.
So and then I was in and out of relationships too. So sometimes relationships are distractions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what it was. It took me at least 2 years to at least get the illustrations done as well.
Wow, that is amazing.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Do you look up to any authors and like something that like inspired you to like want to write a book instead of like a movie, or like who do you look up to?
It's so crazy. I'm an avid fan of Tyler Perry. It's not so much like other authors in that way I look at. I think because his story is so deep, and how he was so driven as far as he was goal oriented. He was more like, this is my vision and I know what it is and I'm going for it regardless. So he's not necessarily an author like that, but he's a creative individual. And I think his story is just amazing, and how he just never gave up. He was homeless and everything else, and he thrived no matter what. So and honestly, I'm actually considering writing a movie too. And doing scripts. Yeah, I've been thinking about it. So I have a few in mind, actually. I have 2 in mind. But it's just a process, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a process. So
that's super inspiring and very, very motivational. Like, how do you just stay so creative, though? Like, you know how people just be creative, like, one day, then the next day they're just, like, all bummed out and sad. Like, you know, it's hard to, not really hard for us to keep that creative side, but just to stay happy and focused. That's like, true. Is there something that guides you to maintain that focus instead of just being all over the place?
I guess it's just it's my niche. It's my outlet, you know? It's my natural talent. I enjoy doing it.
Exactly.
So, you know, I remember in high school, like I said, I would go through so much, and I remember I would sit there for hours and just draw. Like, I would go to magazines and just draw. I would just look at, like, Jay-Z or Pharrell or Tracy McGrady, and I would just draw them from scratch. And I would just, from scratch, and I would just enjoy it. Because it was my outlet. And so still as an adult, I still kind of tap into that. It's my outlet. And, like, if there's nothing else to do, I'm like, I'm just going to work on my book.
Absolutely.
You know? And so that's what sets me on fire, is the fact that it's a stress reliever, for one. For two, I feel like I have a message.
Absolutely.
And I need to get my messages out there, regardless if it's children's books or my podcast or whatever else that I'm doing. I want to be able to inspire and motivate the next person, you know, and let people know that anything is possible in life. Is my biggest
I agree.
thing, right? Like,
I agree.
You got to tap into that. And
so true.
That's my motivation. It's just tapping into the best version of myself and trying to show other people that anything is possible. Dreams are just not, it's not just a figment of your imagination. Like, if you can really, like, conceive it mentally.
Absolutely.
You can hold it in your hand if you can see it mentally. So
I agree.
I'm a big avid fan of just going hard in life, and that's what keeps me on fire.
That is so awesome, because they try to, like, as we grow up, they try to make us, like, forget to use our imagination and just kind of just go adult, and it's like, don't be creative anymore, don't get rid of that's childish and stuff like. But it's like it was like,
it's funny, it's childish.
Walt Disney and Tesla and Albert Einstein talked a lot about how important your imagination is, and like what you just said, that if you can, you know, see it in your mind with your imagination, you can have it in your hand. Because like Walt Disney would say that, and so would Dr. Seuss. Absolutely. And I believe in that, like, strongly, because it's also in that book, The Secret. It's like, try to go 30 days without thinking negative thoughts, and then your life changes incredibly. Like, it'll take time to be able to do it, but when you can do that and just let negative thoughts just be like, you know,
throw it away.
It just goes away. And just positive, it's like your life just changes so drastically. And I think that people just don't understand how creative their minds are, and
how powerful
thoughts. Like, one negative thought can just be a magnet to a whole bunch of bad, you know, reoccurring situations, as opposed to just thinking positive and using your imagination. Then it comes to you like
naturally, and it just flows.
Like, for real, it's so very interesting.
Deep. So not only that, but I also, you just brought up a book. I read the book. It's called I read a book. It's called The Magic of Thinking Big.
Ooh, it's
by David J. Schwartz.
Okay.
Very deep. One of the bestseller at that.
Okay.
But it kind of it makes you shift your paradigm mentally and realize how imperative it is, really, to, like, the way you think entirely. It forms your reality.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yes.
It shapes your reality. So that's a book I've read and completed. I'm working on another one now. I'm gonna find that for you too.
Have you heard of this book? It's called it's like Un-F Yourself.
No.
It's like Un-F Yourself. I haven't read it, but they talked about it in The Secret. It's just like a thought process that we're all brought up to think of how life should go and how things should be, and it's not like necessarily true. Like we just gotta think certain ways, and it'll change our lives drastically. You know what I mean?
That's true.
And I haven't read the book. I downloaded it for me to listen to on my Kindle, but I haven't listened to it yet. But there's a whole bunch of that interests me, like manifesting the law of attraction, being positive, and how positive things will come to you, how you help other people. Because when people help people, they want to go record and say, hey, look what I'm... But it's like... It's more people want to help someone and get help back from that person, and that's not usually how it works. It's like you help someone who needed help, and then even if it's a couple years later, days, even seconds later, you'll get that times 10 by somebody else, even if it's a complete stranger. And then it's like people beat themselves up about, oh, well, I did this for such and such and they haven't did anything for me. It's like, well, the universe is going to give it back to you. It's just not how you want it, you know, and people just being ungrateful kind of push away opportunities just with their thoughts. That's just kind of what I think.
Absolutely.
Because people ask me, how do you, do what you're doing? And you said you would do this in high school and you're doing it and you don't have this, you don't have, and I don't need those things to feel the way that I feel. I'm who I am here and now with or without anything. I'm still going to be me, as happy as I want to be. But I wanted to ask you about like bullying, because I saw like Patrick was kind of getting bullied in the book, and he just wanted to get away from that. And like, how do you feel about bullying and how people should deal with it? Because I see a lot of children and adults committing suicide, whether it be from social media bullying or like real life in school bullying. Like, what advice would you have for people that have to deal with like bullying?
That's great. That's a great question.
Yeah.
Honestly, I just feel like talking to someone.
It helps.
It helps. I feel like a lot of times we kind of isolate ourselves, and we're afraid to just speak out. And it's because, for one, I was teased too. I think we all had that time in life to where you just feel so bad because you just can't fit in.
Yeah,
like
or something.
You're like that sore thumb, or you're just like, you just don't fit in, like you're the off-brand, or you're the, quote unquote type of thing. But for me, I feel like it's just imperative to know that it's okay to be different.
Absolutely.
It's okay to stand out from the crowd. You know what I mean? And I think we have to instill that in our kids as well. Oftentimes, even as adults and parents, I don't think we really instill that into our kids and say, it's okay to be different. You don't have to fit in. And if something were to occur to you, talk to me. But open dialogue is everything, because oftentimes kids don't feel like they have that safe space.
Yes, or they're scared.
They're scared.
Yeah, of judgment and being judgment, because
people
are judgmental, and I think taking care of your mental health is very important, because I tell people that I talk to a psychiatrist, and I use my Medicaid for Denver behavioral health services, because my friends are judgmental. I want to go to someone who's not going to be like, oh, well, to have a clear-minded and not be biased as to, well, this is the person you should be, as to what's actually okay for your mental health and for you to not, go crazy and, like lose your mind somewhere. Because I think we go through a lot growing up, and as adults, we're able to either share with each other or, it's just like the people that hate on each other and try to make it like a competitive thing. But I definitely think that people can overcome bullying by like following their goals, staying focused on their dreams, and not comparing yourselves. Because I think people compare. That's what social media does too. And you got to stay off. And that's what I do. I've learned that. You know what's so funny? Like, I literally never even scroll down my newsfeed, because like I realize like it's sad.
You compare sometimes. You're like, oh my God, I'm not a homeowner yet. Why am I'm divorced, I'm not remarried yet. Like, what the hell is going on? You compare naturally. So I'm like, I don't even do that. I'm so focused on my goals and my dreams that I don't have time to even look at Jim, John, and Joe.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it gets you in that mental state to where it does depress you.
It does.
Sometimes it can make you want to commit suicide.
Yeah.
Because the compare and contrast. Oh, well, here I am. I had to start over again. I went through a bad relationship, and here I am starting from ground zero again. But look at them over there. They're taking vacations, and they're homeowners.
Yeah,
and
I'm
struggling. You know what I mean? They're driving that BMW. I'm over here driving the Ford Fusion.
Yeah.
And it's real. So I really would encourage people to stay away from social media. Like, just focus on yourself and, you know, go hard and believe in what you believe in, and that your timing is your time.
I agree.
Yeah. And there's no time frame on anything. Becoming a homeowner or anything in life, marriage or anything. Like, just, who cares? You know?
Yeah, because social media is like a distraction, just like
entirely.
TV. If you sit there and watch TV, you're going to think this is how life should be, happily ever after stories, and it's not like that. It's definitely other things that we could be using with our minds in our creative states to be more successful and happy in life, you know, because it's a lot of people just go through a lot of pain that are just thoughts, you know. It's like the pain that you're dealing with is thoughts. If you think about something else, it'll be released, you know. And I try to encourage people just to change the things that they're thinking about a lot, and they look at me like that, and it's like, no, if you just try it works, you know, because people just underestimate how powerful our minds really are. Our thoughts,
they control you.
Just everything that we
and what you believe about yourself, that's who you become.
Exactly. Right? Yeah, that's what Oprah said. If you watch Oprah old interview, she ain't gonna say, "Oh, you're gonna become what you want." I want it to be. That lady believed, and that's true. I try to tell people that all the time.
I'm messing with my hair, girl. I think it looks a hot mess.
Oh no, you're good. Okay. It is hot in here, you guys. You see all the lights. It's beautiful in here, and I appreciate you for coming down here. You know, I'm glad that you did come down here. Did you get offered an opportunity with PBS for your cartoon, or for you to create a cartoon or something like that?
I did not.
Oh, okay.
I invested in myself.
Oh, that's what it was.
I invested.
You invested in yourself.
And that's the key. I think often of times people think things are just supposed to come to you.
Exactly, yeah.
No, it takes you to you have to invest in yourself.
Yes.
Like, forget those Jordans. Forget I'm trying to go to the club every weekend.
Ooh.
Like, if you have a big dream, you have to realize that it's going to take you to actually put money towards yourself.
Yes.
Like, even myself published, and I put money towards myself.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I had to. And I'm like, I have money coming in. Why not do something with it? Why not put myself out there? You know, like your designs, even your intro, that costs money. Nothing's cheap. And people just think that, it's time too. It's time. Yeah, for sure. It's time.
Can't get time back. Get all the money in the world back, but my time don't. Yeah, that's like super duper important.
You have to. Nothing just comes to you in life sometimes. You have, especially when you're starting out. I think that you have to you have to hit the pavement hard. You have to go hard, like old school hustling with it in a way, to get your name out there.
I agree.
Because no one's just gonna just automatically just know who you are. Like, oh, that's Rachelle. No one knows that, right? Like, man, I'm talking about, I was old school. Like, even to this day, wherever I go, like, I carry flyers with me.
Yeah.
And I pass them out.
Yeah.
I talk to everybody about what I'm doing, because that's the only way sometimes people are going to even know about you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because sometimes you don't have all the funds in the world just to keep investing and investing. Sometimes you just got to go old school with it.
Yes. And social media can only get you so far. It's like just a little... It's not like someone coming out to their car and seeing a flyer, and it's like, oh, okay, because they might not be on social media.
That's very true.
Because I try to tell people that, you know, just because we live in a world where we're all, you know, stuck to our phone, it doesn't mean that someone's not going to see this interview on Comcast, or they're not going to see it streaming, or, you know, something like that, because other people don't always just stay stuck on social media. Like, some people think everybody has their hand glued, and you don't respond to me in 5 minutes, you don't, like, people live their lives and don't be staring at their phone all the time.
That's so true.
So you just started your podcast recently?
I did. I sure did. Yeah.
Where can you find the podcast at? Where can people go and listen to you at?
I am on Spotify. I am on Apple iTunes. I am on Google Play. I am on Breaker. It's a whole. I'm trying to pull it up.
That's
girl.
A new one.
Yeah, Breaker, and it's a few other ones. Let me actually pull it up now for you. But my podcast is called Raise Inspiration and Motivation. I just wanted to help people tap into becoming the best versions of themselves entirely.
Absolutely.
So how we're talking about shifting your paradigm, the way you think naturally, like, that's important. Yes. And I want to spread that message. And it's not just about that, but it's more even about financial literacy. I have a guy I'm gonna have one here pretty soon. He's a financial guru. He's
That's
good when it comes to
awesome.
money.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
People scare themselves with their thoughts on
Yeah.
money and mess up money opportunities just because of what they think about money. Like,
Right.
change what
Yeah.
you're thinking
Yeah.
about. That's
Yeah.
awesome, though.
But it's just not only that. I realize there's an IQ to everything in life,
Mm-hmm.
even love. And it's like, even if basketball or football sports have IQ, so why can't there be like a financial IQ or an emotional
Absolutely.
intelligence, or everything has an IQ? And I think it's imperative to kind of educate yourself on things like that. Like,
Yes.
you need to know about things like this because it helps you to be a better adult and individual and make better moves and decisions.
Yeah,
moving
absolutely.
forward. So why not have fun and just interview people and talk about it and just educate at the same time, you know?
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
That is awesome because that is something that is kind of locked in for people to have to pay to learn how to have that financial literacy or to learn how to make money. They usually have to pay instead of
Yeah.
listen to someone who's like, hey, you could just listen to this interview and we're going to
Exactly.
give you
Free
some
99.
guidance.
Yeah.
And it's like we all deserve a little
Yes.
bit of help. It's not like I'm giving you a genie in the bottle, you
Right.
know. But I think that's absolutely amazing.
And you know, I listened to this motivational speaker. Her name is Latoya Okia. She's
Okay.
a life coach. She's a minister and, like I said, a motivational speaker.
That is awesome.
And she touches on that too. And it's so funny. I don't listen to music in my car barely ever. I listen to motivational speakers.
That is awesome.
Like,
I be listening to books.
do you? Yeah, audibles, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's what helps you change your mental state too.
Yes.
Just the little things you do on a daily basis will change your entire perspective on life.
Yeah.
And some people don't know how to tap into that. They want to listen to the new Megan Thee Stallion,
It
not
messes with
hating,
your
not
frequency.
Beyonce, whatever. Yeah, do you? But I'm gonna be listening to this motivational speaker. I'm gonna listen to Les Brown. I'm gonna listen to Eric Thomas. I'm gonna listen to somebody who's gonna make me want to tap into being the best versions of me every day.
Have you heard of Bob Proctor?
I've heard of him.
That guy's story is very, very interesting.
Okay.
He's attached to The Secret. Someone told me about it, and I'm
Okay.
like, that guy sounds. And I watched. I was like,
yeah,
oh wow, I should have
right.
been watching this
A long time
And
ago,
he's
yeah.
like, I think he made it to like 28, was homeless, couldn't figure out life, was going through it, and he just changed what he was thinking about. Now he's like a millionaire.
Shift his
And
whole
he's
entire
like,
life.
I just had
Yeah.
to think. And he was like, it was my thoughts. And it's like, I try to tell people, and they look at me
the
like I'm
simplest
crazy,
thing,
and I'm
yes.
like.
Uh-huh.
It's important what you're thinking about and also
Yeah.
what you're eating too, because people don't pay attention to what they consume, and it messes up, you know,
Yes.
certain ways our brain and our body
Functions and
works,
everything.
and
That is
will
so true.
distract you.
Now, have you watched a documentary called "What the Health"?
I did.
And
I
it
watched
made me
that.
stop eating meat like that.
Man,
So now
I ain't ate.
I'm in the process of becoming a pescatarian and just eating vegetables and fruits. But I'm
That is
naturally,
awesome.
I've always been like that anyway. I'm a health nut anyway. So like, and I've always been extremely athletic. But still,
is
like that changes you if you do your research on food and what you actually intake and how it
Affects you.
affects you.
Yeah, because like eating meat and stuff can
Yes.
make you all mad and angry because it was like the
It's
cow
their
was all
dead,
mad and
yeah.
angry right before it died. So
Died.
you're going to eat
They're in
that energy
distress.
that was
Yes.
right before it died, you know?
Yes.
Because I watched that in Seaspiracy.
Yes, okay.
So they're talking about we're not going to have no more seafood like 2048 if we keep fishing the way we're fishing, because they're like killing the dolphins because the dolphins are eating too much fish, so they're like, we gotta kill the dolphins off because
And
they're
I love
eating what we're
dolphins.
catching.
Oh,
So
yeah,
then it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh guys, come on, like, but
Yeah.
then it's all like a big, I don't want to get too much in that. Sorry, God, I don't want to
No, it's
scare
okay.
anybody or get anybody raffled up. I am not a
Right.
poacher. I do not
Right.
have. I'm all for Greenpeace and
Yeah.
keeping the whales alive. But
Me too. Absolutely.
I definitely think what you're eating and thinking about is important, and what you're taking into your mental too. Because
Yes.
if you're listening to all that violent music, you know, not necessarily violence too, it's just a distraction because they
But just even the sexual content.
yeah, that
It's
too.
too much, because then here you
Messing
are,
with
then
your
you're comparing
frequency.
yourself. Yes, then you're too busy comparing yourself to the next female, or you're too fixated on things that mean nothing. You know? Like
Absolutely.
your physical appearance and worrying about catching the necks and my box is popping. Like no one cares about that in real life.
I just think right now
Yeah.
with social media
Yeah.
and the influence of
Yeah.
like how you're supposed to look, like being a model back in the day, like, you know, there was people that had eating disorders or whatever, but now with the surgery on the body, it's so sad that women think that you have to look a certain way
way.
to be happy or to get a man or whatever, because I definitely think that women should stop being so I wouldn't say not all women, but just it's not necessarily deception, but just to be happy with who you are in your skin. And there's always room for change because not everybody's perfect, but I just been seeing women dying and stuff from getting surgeries overseas and, you know, having to get implants taken out and just changing the whole way they look. Did you see K. Michelle?
Yes. Oh, she looks totally different.
It's like, who is that?
I'm like, who is that person? Exactly. So true. But you know what? That goes back to the bullying aspect too a lot of times.
That too.
That's what, because for me, I've always had an issue with my complexion. I always had a complex growing up because I'm one of the darkest in my family. And like everyone's mixed in my family, long, beautiful hair. So like, you know, and mixed and lighter complected. And then here I am, I'm like the dark one. I'm like the black sheep. And then my aunt will always make like comments about my complexion. So I kind of grew up with like a complex. And I wanted to like, I'm not going to lie, I'm being very transparent. I wanted to like bleach my skin to get a little lighter.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, yeah, because it's, and sometimes it goes back to those childhood traumas, right? And then it stays with you as an adult. And then it's like, okay, well, I need to fix this because I remember when they said this about me, and that's not beautiful in society.
Absolutely.
You know? And no, like you said, sometimes you just have to believe that who you are is perfect.
Yes.
You know? You don't have to change anything.
Absolutely. I remember getting bullied, being called mudbloods, and just people used to be mean to me because I was mixed. They would call me Oreos and just childish stuff. It would kind of hurt my feelings a little bit. But I remember when I was younger, I wanted to be dark skinned because of Little Kim. Yeah, like, I swear I hated being light skinned. It's crazy how it's for the opposite. Life of me.
Yes, in our community. It works that way.
I wanted to be this color, the color of my birthmark. So I want to be a black girl. I don't want to be light skinned. And then I just had to grow up and be like, okay, well, you know, it's different for everybody. But
everyone struggles different.
I just had issues with that self-identity growing up. Because it's like, oh, I want to be like her. And then it's like, look, you know, she's beautiful now and all that. But she went through her own trials, you know, Lil' Kim.
And there's a reason why they
all that.
Yeah. Because it's so funny. You touch on Lil' Kim. I know we're just bouncing her.
I love Lil' Kim. Shout out to you. I'm gonna get some of your clothes and wear them.
She has a whole.
Love you.
She has a line.
Yes.
I had no idea.
Yes, I think it's called Pretty Little Thing. Oh, yes, I think Mulatto's it's a lot of the new rappers that are modeling for her brand ambassadors. I'm trying to be a brand ambassador because that clothes is nice. It's cute, like the New York style. Cause
you know I love
it's
that.
a little bit different. Yeah, because you know we got ours. They got the swag, like for real.
I think so too. I always wanted to be from Brooklyn.
Yeah, I swear to God.
Which is crazy. I wanted to be from the East Coast so bad. I love the Timbs. I love the big, what are they called? The big knockers.
Those big old earrings.
Yeah, and the hats and all that. Like, I'm like, their swag is so dope. But anywho, I was listening to an old school song that I forget the title of it. But even Lil' Kim, I caught it in one of her verses. She had said something about being like a light-skinned woman, like referring to herself. And now you can kind of see it like in how she carries herself. She changed. She made a reference to it, and I caught it. I think it was an older song with Biggie. I can't think of it, but I just it resonated with me when I caught it, and I'm like, that's why she's changing. It was a complex that she had within herself, and now that she has the money. She's you know changing. Yeah,
because even when you watch, I remember watching the movie. Not to say that the movie was 100% on point with Big's life and Kim and Faith, but to me it seemed like Big favored Faith more, the light skinned girl more than the dark skinned girl. But he still loved Lil' Kim, but she didn't get treated the way that she was treated, and I felt like complex had something to do with that. Just from my perspective, from watching the movie, and I felt like that multiple times growing up. You know, I've been envious of darker skinned girls with longer hair and stuff like that. I would just be like, oh, she is so beautiful. Look, and I burn in the sun and you know, stuff like that. I would be jealous, you know, but I've learned to overcome that because we all have our own issues with whatever our skin and the sun or whatever. But I used to be really, really envious of dark skinned girls and be like, I want to be like that. And then
for me, it was the opposite. But you know, different perspectives make for different realities.
Yes.
So what you go through and you experience as an individual, it shapes you entirely.
Exactly.
On my podcast, I have an episode because I suffer from PTSD. Severe. I was diagnosed with like one of the highest levels of PTSD. And I'm not ashamed to talk about it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You know?
It helps.
Yeah.
Because people will be like, don't nobody got to know that. And it's
No,
like, but it
it
helps
helps
because there are
somebody else who's
other
probably
people that are
struggling.
dealing with it
Yeah.
that's scared to
And they're
talk
afraid
about
to
it.
talk about it.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm like, especially in our communities, right? So I'm like,
Yes.
dog, like,
Judging.
I've seen it. I've seen it. They judge you, and they think you're weak if you go get help because of it. But that even goes back to what we're talking about with complexions and things like that.
Yeah.
And what shaped you to who you are as an adult. Like a lot of the traumatic experience as I experienced as a child, it formed me, and a lot of it I just kind of pushed to the back of my head. And I'm like, I swept it under the rug for years. And as an adult, it started to metamorph and then come out in different ways, unhealthy ways.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So it's, and like you said, you have a professional you talk to.
Yeah.
So while I'm on here, I just want to encourage anyone who like deals with anything as far as like your mental health and you're dealing with something that you feel like you cannot control, please get the help you need. And it doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you less of a mother, father, or whatever. You know what I mean? Just go get the help that you may need. But yeah, that all goes back to you know, perspectives and shifting your paradigm and the complexes that we grow up with naturally. I think it's important.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm real big on that, and then relationships and domestic violence and stuff, because women are thought to think that they have to go through all these terrible things to be with someone, and it's like it's just not healthy, you know, and it's not discussed a lot because, you know, in the different communities and cultures, it's all you're supposed to stay down for your man or whatever they put you supposed to be there. And it's like, that stuff will kill you.
It will.
It'll put you in situational stress and have you going crazy or just comparing yourselves to other people and stuff like that. And I think that people need to talk more to professionals about that and that it's okay to let go. You know, some people just hold on, and you know, it's so sad how things end up. But I think that people that are dealing with, you know, domestic violence as well should call the hotlines and get on and talk to people and talk to their friends about it, because just holding things on the inside like that can just destroy you completely. And you never know, someone might have a story to share on how they overcame situations, and it might, you know, be someone's guideline to, you know, finding happiness again, because I think that's definitely important.
And a lot of people, because they deal with so much trauma, they become conditioned to believe that it's normal.
Yes.
It's not. I've heard some women even say straight up, like if they're not putting their hands on me or if they're not doing this or this, I don't think it's love.
That's so sad.
Isn't it sad? But it's some people's reality, and it's just kind of how like that's just what they're used to.
Yeah,
you know
I
what I'm
think
saying?
that and the influence, because I think not necessarily to say all of our parents, but you know, sometimes parents.
Baby, you don't know what you do to me.
The Mary Mac Show.
Look into my eyes and show me